Okay, so here we are. It's been a long time since I streamed. I think the last time was whenever, last year, which I can't remember. So what are we going to be doing tonight? I think some slightly different things. Hello, Greg. So I've tried to upgrade to 1080p so you can see more delicious detail or terrible detail depending on the game. And the other thing is I've also downgraded my internet fiber connection. So we'll see how those two work together. Hello, VRGTMS. Hello. And there's one other thing I'm trying tonight. I'm played with the audio input, so I should be louder, and also I shouldn't be drowned out by the game. So we'll see how it works. I mean, I'll record it and then I'll play it back and go, oh my God, that's terrible. So I'm going to touch on 4 games. Some of these, I went to the show Byte Driver a long time ago. Hello, Mighty Johan. So we will start off with Byte Driver. Let's slip it in. Oh, there's a dialogue. Right. So Vector Hat. This is from Vector Hat. Now, I've never looked or sounded better. Thank you, Greg. I hope you can still hear me over the sound. You may remember Vector Hat from a game we played a little while back called Arcoil, which was this sort of shooter, 2D shooter game, but it had weird controls. I can't remember exactly. It was something like you couldn't thrust. You had to move around by shooting. And I was terrible at that, except when I used the cheat mode. So Byte Driver is similar. I'm terrible at it, and it looks good, so that's why it's in the stream. So here we go. I'm going to give it a go. Let's start us off. I should go for the controller. So I think the tutorial will introduce you to the ideas. So you can see lots of buttons, so obviously it's terrible for me. I'm not going to do really badly. Okay, so right trigger for throttle, left trigger for brake. So it's easy enough. It looks lovely, right? It's obviously evoking, you know, the kind of vector graphics, you know, games of like the 80s. That was what Arcoil was doing similarly as well. But there's something a little bit more than that. There's a sort of a hybrid of 80s, that the noises are a little bit, you know, remind me of home computers. And we've got a nice funky 80s soundtrack. So it's a bit of a weird hybrid. It is all very 80s, but from very different sources. So let's speed up here. I like the glitchiness. There's a lot of that. You'll see like occasionally the box just pops out like that. Come on, catch up with this guy. Here we go. Okay, that was too... Okay, that wasn't good. So you have to scan the enemies, the enemy cars, by putting them in this box. Now, to be honest, to be fair, I don't do this very often in the game itself. They'll tell you how to do something different in a moment. So I have to do it the manual way first. Come on. To be fair, I'm not... so I can hack it. I can get the energy from it, and that's how you do it. You would basically hack the cars, but you can send off a remote drone to go hack for you, but you have to stay within range. Okay, and now I can hack. Now I've got nitro, so let's do the left button. Hey, there we go. There we go. Yeah, going too fast. That was the nitro boost. Oh, it wants me to do a bit more scanning. Okay, so A to choose. Let's go for acceleration. Now, this is where I usually have problems trying to press those multiple buttons when everything's going crazy. Right, let's go for shield. Okay, so now I've got a shield. There you go, there's my shield. Okay, now the game starts. Hello, Ramanos14. Why am I trying to talk to people in the chat while I'm about to die? So we're gonna... Let's just send that off and let's just grab some energy. You've got to keep on getting the energy. That's what you lose if you know, just by traveling and by taking hits. So that's the bar on the right there. I'll take that. Yes. Let's take energy again. It's the energy that will kill you when it goes down to 0. Oh, it's amicable animal. Sorry, you've turned at the wrong time. We finished SOLAS about 3 minutes ago. It didn't last very long. Oh, it's a rock. This really reminds me of Byte Driver from the Atari VCS, which is, I don't know why. I think it's because it's a very simple driving game, and you know, where you have these headlights coming down the car at you, headlights coming down the road at you. Oh, I always go for energy. That's the only thing that can keep me alive. Greetings, James C. Downey, as he's struggling just to look at the chat while not dying from being hit by mines. And it's true, I'm so rude. Mines cleared. Okay. Evade snipers. There's a quick trick to evading the snipers. And just make sure you're near them. They shoot across the road. Ah. Oh dear. Oop. Let's take a traction boost. Oh dear. I keep on hitting the wrong button. There we go, that's better. Right. Oh, it's dueling time. I really need energy. You just have to survive with this big car goes back and forth. I'm gonna grab the laser this time, I think. Get off. Oh, I took the energy boost again. Oh well, it's fine. Just got the press A to choose, press X to select. If that makes any sense. Come on. Right. Okay. That's what we want. See? This is very satisfying. Please don't die me. There we go. Level over. I've only got to level 3 in this. So, casting to 3 images. Left, straight, right. Not sure the problem. These days probably harder to fake the 3D with 2D than just do it in 3D. I mean, did you have bikes in those days? Right. So generally, I don't find you don't need the laser too much in these sections. I mean, there are enemies which are quite aggravating, but generally. I mean, the bikes at the moment are fine, but they'll start to shoot sideways in a minute. I think, is it next level, maybe? So, it's that one I want to get rid of, because it's shooting at me. So, I don't like nitro. Checkpoint, here we go. It's a mine time. Oh dear. There's a sense that you want to go really fast, but if you go really fast, you'll just crash into the sides and die. Let's take the energy. Oh, there we go. Hey! Oh my god. Yeah, too right. Okay, I have got to get some energy. Ah! That's not good, banging the laser guy. Oh, go away, bike. You're just gonna shoot at me. Ah! Those bikes did get quite vicious. I'm sure there's some techniques to this game which I haven't realized yet. Well, I'm not gonna last. Oh, great. Prepare for duel. It's the mind-dropping van. I'll have... Ah, yes, you slow down. There's no need to go... There's no need to get fast, get blown up. Wow. So, I could spend some time here typing in my name, but I always press A and then forget about the details. So, I'm obviously the top scorer apart from the 9999 one. I've been playing against myself a lot. That's Byte Driver in a nutshell. I mean, I just love the look at it, and I like the mix of the graphics and everything. And I think Vector Hat is working on other things as well. If you ever check out his Twitter feed, so you'll see things like I think he's working on Radical Chess at the moment. So if you are interested, I'm just going to tap the link in there. So. This actually came out last year, and I think it's priced about $7, $8, £5.80 at the moment. It is available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And I will say thank you to Vector Hat because they did give me a key. I saw it on Twitter. I said, can I have that? Because that looked kind of interesting. So I did get it, and then it took me a year to show everybody. So that concludes what I want to say about that. So I'm going to recognize Radical Chess. And Romanus 14 telling me that he's finished Stephen's sausage rolls this morning. Sausage souls, that's what I call it, right? Yeah, it's always good to hear from other people who finished it, and always to hear people's moments when they play Dead End. For those people who haven't played it, Dead End is the moment you want to look forward to. Right, so let's get rid of that. And let's move on to SOLAS. Let me start this up. So you can't get this game at the moment. This is a puzzle game. Dead End was indeed Hysteria, Romanus 14. So yeah, these are just save games I've got in progress here. So we've got this one. Here's my proper game. This is my test game when I was practicing doing streaming. And here's an empty slot. I've got a bit of lag on my mouse, it feels like. What's going on? Well, sure, it won't be a problem. So let's start in here. So let's talk about, I'm going to go from the beginning. I won't get too deep into the puzzles where it gets really interesting. I just hope this will whet your appetite for a game you can't quite get yet. Sorry. So this is a cutscene. We've got this colourful crap. Okay, so Amicable Animal is telling us it should be ready in January next year. So, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but it's okay, you know, it's I can go with it because I don't need explicit storytelling. You are a worker at a laser plant or something like that. So where are we? So this is how the game starts. So I saw this on Twitter. It came off Nick Bell's feed, Mr. Behemoth, who did Bonbon and also the one I talked about recently, Interactivity. And I saw this and I thought, oh, what's that? Doesn't have a go with it. So yes, I reached out and got a copy of it. So we've got James E. Downey, who's responsible for the music on the chat, and also Amicable Animal, who I believe is the main creative force behind the game. I'll put it that way. So I think it has a description of something like being like a rhythm wave kind of puzzle game, and it's interesting. So this music, well, let's just get started first. So we've got the lasers coming up here, and it just goes through slowly like this, and you just reorient these mirrors to get to this exit. Amicable Animal says, it's my fault. Is that what you're saying? Yes, that's right. And once that's happened, then we have access through to the next screen. Honestly, you'll work this out yourself. No big spoilers, right? So we click here. You can get a little shield to indicate what we should be doing. So now these are different mirrors. So it's a bit difficult, I think. It's not quite clear enough between the different types of mirrors at the moment, but I've got used to it. Yes, Greg, I was going to talk about Micron in a minute. So we've got these purple ones can be moved around, but those red ones could be reoriented. So we can move these around, bring this down here, and our little red beam will come out. So yeah, I was going to bring up Micron. So this is obviously a kind of beam reflection game. And I've talked about beam reflection games and how they've generally become like sort of steady state problems, so that you have to get everything lined up perfectly. Once all the beams are shining in the right direction and the mirrors are bouncing off perfectly, then you end up getting, the level is solved. There's no time involved. You just have to place everything in the right positions and the puzzle unlocks. Now then you have, there are older games which didn't work like that. Look, see here, we can't reorient this mirror, so we have to just reposition them like that. And so we have to go back down here now, interestingly enough. But this is a red one and can be reoriented. So some older puzzle games did actually have where you were moving, the beams were moving in time. And that sort of got replaced with the advent of, I think the big Flash game was Reflections that made it a big deal, but it wasn't the origin of the idea. That came from Twilight, Argon Deluxe from Twilight Software. Now, I have seen since games where time has been reintroduced. So we've got Micron is the one that comes to mind. And Micron has these balls going around. So you shoot balls in. It's very much like a beam reflection game, but there's a time aspect to it. But sometimes you have to change your strategy in the middle of the level solving itself. So the balls go through and then you have to move some things around so the balls move in a different place. And that makes for a very different kind of puzzle. And so when I saw this originally, I thought, oh, this makes me think of Micron. However, for most of the time, it really looks like, well, it's just a beam moving slowly. You don't have to change. At least the levels I've seen quite a few. The levels I've seen, you don't actually have to intervene too much and move things in time. What's kind of important though is that these beams have to strike the exits for a short period, and if that's interrupted, well, you haven't solved it. And there will come times, that may even happen in this run through, where you will actually redirect the beam. It'll bounce back into itself and cut itself off, meaning it never quite finishes doing the loop. And also later on, you have to change the path as you go from one room to another, which means that certain parts will switch off. Certain things will switch off as you move the beam around. So there is a sort of sequential aspect to it. Deflector, which I believe is probably the Amicable Animal has talked about Deflector being a big inspiration from the Commodore 64 days, which which is originally on ZX Spectrum. And I believe that's the original light deflecting game. So you see these ones now are purple and red. So the red means you can change the direction of them. The purple means you can move them. I said I'm not 100% sure that's quite, it's easily legible. It took me a while to get used to it, but I'm used to it now. And the problem here is these grey ones you can't move. So, and obviously that's wrong because it's going to shoot into the wall and that'll be the end of that. So I think the way to do it is you have to make a path which you can actually make with the pieces allotted, and that becomes a problem in many of the later rooms. You've only got like these 3 pieces, so what do you do? In terms of the graphics, I like the way it looks. But I'm not entirely sure about the graphics of the exits, because they look nice, but the exits have multiple functions. They're not just like receptors, but they're your exits. So, and you have to go backwards through them as well. So there's a sense in which they look like they're forward facing only, but actually you move back and forth and they are your exits. And also there's another issue later on where you need to have the beams going in at diagonals. And I have complained about this on Twitter. And it looks like the beams have to go straight in, but that's not actually the case. Sometimes you can go in from an angle and they don't quite look like that's correct. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head would be like have them with 3 lines on them or something, but I don't know if that would destroy the aesthetic or just wouldn't really work either, but obviously something to play around with. So this thing is in the way here, and the interesting problem here is these grey spots you can't put anything on, so we have to move these out the way, and then we can drag in our deflectors. I do wish there was a fast forward button, I guess, because sometimes I've got it and I just want to see it play out, and I think that would be an interesting addition. Although then again, the whole thing is supposed to go in time to the music, and it's only this music I've heard all the way through. I don't know if we're going to get any other music later on. So if you had a fast forward button, I guess you'd have to speed up the music, which is, I guess, okay. Many games do that. But if it's supposed to have this slow, kind of relaxing kind of vibe to it, and then you press F and they go do 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 do, maybe that's not really what you want to do. Okay, so we gotta. Okay, so we can't. These are purple, only purple, and we can't change how they're going. This one is pretty much sorts itself out. There's only certain places you can put these mirrors or deflectors, depending on how you want to explain them. So there will be 4 areas with different longer tracks in the full game. Oh, the stuttering. Actually, there's actually stuttering in the game, Greg, where the screen suddenly goes. That's part of the game. This happens repeatedly. I think that's what you're talking about. I'll try and point it out next time it happens. Okay. So, gotta get across there. We've only got a few gaps. So obviously we want to go straight across, but there's not enough spaces to move the thing out the way. So we're gonna have to. Oh, that's another stutter there. Is that what you're seeing? Is that what you're seeing, Greg? Is that the stuttering? Okay, so. Okay, my face is stuttering too. Sorry about that. You're getting hitching. See, I'm. All right. I'm watching myself on the stream, and I don't know. Yes, it is hitching. I can see it is hitching. So I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's because I've gone up to 1080p. Can you actually hear me speaking? Is there speaking? Oh, that's not working. I'm worried so much. Okay, I think we're going to get this going around here. Oh, I can't move that one. I need to deflect the stream down. And that's not going to work either, is it? So I think I need to do them up. And the sound is okay. Well, I'm hoping it'll record fine. We'll find out. Again, it's the first time I've done 1080. It could be like either my internet connection or I'm thinking too much about the stream and not enough about the puzzle. There we go. We'll see. Was there any stuttering on Byte Driver earlier? So in this room, for you, yeah, okay, interesting. Well, we'll see what, we'll leave it as it is, and we'll get to the end of the stream, and I'll review what's been recorded and see see where the problem is, whether it's on my end or in Twitch or something like that. Probably my end, right? Okay, so we got this red, these goop chunks of colorful goo, I'm going to put it that way, in the way now, which we can't do anything with. So we have to get down to this exit here. This is the simple puzzles, okay? This is the simple stuff. It's just a very long tutorial. Whether it needs to speed up the tutorial or not, I don't know. And boom, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So the beam hits itself and deflects. So that's obviously not going to work. So how do we get around that? Yeah, I don't know. How do we get around that? So it has to go across here. And I think we're going to have to bounce it downwards. Is that going to work? Well, that was a nice big glitch. And try, yes, there we go. That should avoid crossing the streams. The interesting thing here is what I think this points out, and there'll be a lot more of this later, but I probably won't show you much of this at all, is that there's a sense in which the sort of what I consider to be Rube Goldberg-esqueness of it, that if you just put a thing in the right places, it'll work itself out. But sometimes it can be hard to think out what that actually is. What is the actual correct places to put everything? And it can be quite. Oh gosh, that's blue. Can't see the blue. Oh, it's Samurai Punk. Morning. Feather is up later on. Now, so the thing is to get the when the beams start hitting each other, that's kind of, sometimes it can be quite a little bit of extra effort to make sure they don't hit each other, and it can be really down to some minute adjustments. And I find, okay, so in this room, we can't get across here, so we're going to have to direct over here. And we'll grab this from down here. We'll keep Samurai Punk going while he's doing his GDC emails. I don't have any GDC emails, which is a wonderful thing. So the thing is, these fine adjustments, they might not occur to you, but you'll have to start moving pieces around to get an idea of how it's supposed to, where you're just going to be experimenting, basically. And it's a bit like, I could call this like the Monte Carlo method, where you're just testing possibilities rather than thinking. Now, that's not entirely true, because there's a certain part of this where, you know, even games where they force you to experiment, they don't necessarily, okay, this isn't going to work. They don't necessarily they don't necessarily expect you to just experiment completely. You've got to whittle down the possibilities, and you need some smarts and some thinking to do that. And that is there, but it can sometimes think like you weren't sure where it needed to be, and you'll put it there and like, oh yes, it works out. You are involved in the solution. It's just not as tight as, say, in something as like Steven Saucer or Snakebird, where you think, ah yes, I did solve that. But I find that for a lot of reflecting games anyway. But I don't think that's a big problem. I'm still comfortable with how SOLAS is working. For me, my son loves this game. He just loves watching it. And I did have my children solve 2 levels which were really stumped me before. Let's go back over this screen. And now This is the thing at the start, I believe. The colourful boxes. Right, so that's blown a hole down here. Now I can carry on down here. So once I redirect the energy to the right, this top the light will eventually stop coming through here. So that's what I mean, the sort of temporal nature of it, that, you know, once you redirect the laser, even though it's going through multiple rooms, that laser light will just stop. So here's what I was saying about the exit. I need to click here. I can't click here. There's no exit here. I do have to click on that forward facing pointer. Okay, and we'll feed out through here. Now there is a map. Press the pause button. And you can see I started over here. I've been through here. And this, the crosshairs, is where I am at the moment. I couldn't see there was crosshairs there originally. It was a little bit vague for me. I thought, I just thought it was just part of one of the rooms. You can actually move to other rooms quickly in the map. At the moment, there's absolutely no reason why you would do this, but later on, when things become a lot more interdependent, you do have to. It is a nice map. I've got about 40% filled in my game. What did I do? I pressed the exit button. Very good. Let's go back in, carry on where we were. So we're about to see where the mechanics start to go up a level. I'm going to put it that way. Right, let's go over here and then ta-da! So there's a green beam coming in, it hits your red beam, they combine, become yellow, and they also go off at a oblique angle. So you have to get the yellow light up here. Now what's really interesting is that anything going in a 45-degree angle, in another game this wouldn't necessarily be a problem. Like the game I played with one of the early streams, which is the Archaica, you had different mirrors to deal with things which are operating at a 45-degree angle. Not so here. If it's not going at 90 degrees, your deflectors are useless. So if I put this here, it just goes through it. If I change to this, oh, forget the... Oh, I don't have one going the other way. If you have one oriented the other way, it just stops. It just goes in and just, sorry, I'm not going anywhere. So the interesting thing here is I need to go up here with only two deflectors. So how am I going to do this? So if you put a deflector at the point where they intersect, that also causes an issue. I mean, also causes no effect whatsoever. It's as if the deflector isn't there, and it's a real pain. You know, there's so many times I'm going, oh, I'll just put a deflector there, and they'll go in the opposite directions. No, that's not going to do anything. So you actually literally have to do something like that. That's obviously not going to work for us either. What is going to work for us? We need to get it up here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's how we do this. Now this is a good example of what I was talking about. The solution here is to go in at a diagonal angle, and it doesn't feel natural to me that this shape says hit me diagonally. And also I need to move it one down, and I hope it still works. Yes, it's going to work, so it does work. But I'm okay because I used my smarts to iterate down to that solution. I thought, oh, okay, I've only got two pieces. I need to bump it across and go in a diagonal direction. I hope that works, and it does. And this level is simple enough to guide you towards that. Well, if you did this in Steven's Sausage Roll, you'd probably have to pile up deflectors up to like 10 levels or something just to learn the mechanic. And so, yeah, this starts to get messier as we get more combinations of colors. So you can see the red comes into the yellow and it stays yellow. The red light's already in the yellow, so it stays yellow. So how do we get it up there? We need to get some sort of reflection up there. If I take that out, the yellow will go up here, and you can see what you really want to do. You need to, so this is the diagonal. There's no way with the 3 pieces we've got to be able to reflect it up here. It's just not going to work. Well, that's rubbish anyway. So it's not possible to get up there. You've got to hit it with you've got to get a diagonal. The only way to get a diagonal is by slamming those 2 beams together. And the question is, how am I going to do that? So let's see. Yes, I've already done this. So what you have to do, let me just bring this one down here. Sweep this across. Now notice, because the little blobs don't hit each other, the streams can actually go over each other. And this is another part of the kind of fine tuning of the solution. Sometimes you can't be sure when the rhythm is actually going to make sure they hit the, in sync. And here they're out of phase, so they can pass over each other no problem. And I think the solution is something like this. You have to get it to come across and hit at the hit further up. And as you can see, even if I move it up and down, it's just, they remain out of phase. And this is something which I find difficult to get my head around. I understand it, but I can't predict the effect. So let me move this over to reduce the distance it's traveling. And now I've got the effect I want. Excuse me, I'm coughing a lot. All today. I'm gonna have to get a big cough. There we go. Now my voice is going really weird. And that takes us into the next room where I'm going to stop. So you can see that we've got a yellow and a red and a green here. We only have the yellow to work with at the moment. And what is all this going to do? There's definitely more things to come later on in the game. And I've definitely had a few levels where I was like staring at it and saying, no, that's impossible. I guess that the game's just not finished yet and it's an impossible level. Only to have my children say, why don't you try that? And I'm like, oh God, all right, yes, you're correct, children. So I'm enjoying this. I feel like it's got an interesting mix of mechanics and, there's a lot more to see in the game. Yes, there are more colors. Yes, definitely. Of course, we're going to throw in magenta and the blue. Of course, that's all going to happen. And other things too. Later on, the world sort of opens up a bit more. This is still very linear, but later on, it becomes a little bit more, choose your path sort of thing. So I will stop there, and I think that's enough SOLAS for now. Hopefully, it'll be out next year. So thank you very much for sending me a copy of that. I believe it's heading for Windows and Mac. And I should copy the, that's the site. And I think you can get Amical Animal on Twitter if you want to follow for more updates. God, I can't type. Hey, there you go. If I put the hat in, Twitch was going, what do you mean, at? So there you go. There we go. To wishlisted it. If only you could wishlist it. I don't think it's on Steam yet. Right. Back to the loading screen. Now I was finding my mouse was lagging a bit, so it's possible that that the game was a bit heavier on my PC and it's causing some issues combined with the whole streaming stuff. All right, so let me open up Vignettes, which I raved about recently. You are opening, right? There we go. Okay, so this is Vignettes. So this is the PC version. I actually played on mobile, and this is the PC version, which I just got a copy of recently from. I paid for the original copy of mobile, but I got a nice copy from Skeleton Business, so I could do some PC screenshots. So I saw this in res, 2015, something like that, and it was a nice, cool little idea. So the title screen itself suggests to you how the game works. You've got to turn the shape so it looks like something else, and you get a different shape. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to dump the game, and we can start off from the beginning. And you can see the whole tutorial at the start. Oh, so yeah, you'll get the occasional screenshot, Greg, from Amicable Animal on Twitter. And maybe from me, although I'd be very careful not to share too many screenshots which give away what's coming later on. Oh god, I am a world first stream of SOLAS. So, no, this is not by the same people, Samurai Punk, who did Metamorphobet. That's Vector Park. This is by, I can't remember the name. This is the group together is Skeleton Business, but we've got, the names, Paul Clarisou and at Gibb. that's the guy who's working on. Yeah, so this is definitely in the spirit of those kind of Gnog and Metamorphobet type games. So here it's just teaching you the idea of finding positions to translate the object into another. And it's telling me I can press the button. So you can turn objects and you can press the button. So that's popped out. I thought the eye was going to be very important in the game. It isn't actually. It's only like in the opening. So, oh yeah, bring the eye back around. Here we go. And again, you can also zoom in to the object sometimes. Okay, and then you have to come out. And there we are, and we're at the chest, which is sort of the game's hub. Greg, you're saying none of this was on the Android version. I thought it was. Maybe I played a newer version, which it is on. So you open up the chest, and there's only one object in there, which is the telephone. Romanos 14 is asking me about Brian Moriarty's lecture. I see what you did there. Is that the one about the witness that was at Adventure X? So the sound design is David Kanaga. So it really does. It's really lovely, and every screen has its own unique little like music. Yeah, it was all done by David Kanaga. Kanaga? Oh my god, I don't know which way it's pronounced. Yes, I did see it, Romanos 14. I loved that. I did share it on Twitter at the time as soon as I saw it, but it is a really brilliant talk. If you're interested in The Witness and you haven't watched Brian Moriarty's talk about it, and you can tell Brian Moriarty is starting to what's the word? He's starting to, break up a little towards the end of the talk. It's an excellent talk about The Witness from a completely different point of view. So we can zoom up. Oh, it wants me to turn it around. So I've got another shape. I've got a bowl. And it wants me to click this button. And here you go. So you've got the bowl here, and it's shown a map. And this is how you know what other possibilities there are at every space. You can morph from the bowl to two other things, but what are they? And that's how you know what to morph into. In the original version I played in Res, none of that was here. You just had to kind of figure it out. Oh yeah, I found something. You can also see there's a frame here as well, and this tells you what object you've got. And you can see they're collected into frames. There's other frames here too. And on the other side of each frame is a key. So if you get all the items, You get a key and that will unlock. Well, it turns out to be just one of the objects you can jump to. So let's come out of this. Let's go back in. Okay, so I found one of the objects. So on the map, you can see the ball goes back and forth to the guitar. Excuse me. What's really interesting is that, yeah, I just made some noises, but if you play at the bottom, you get low notes on the top, high notes. Just that little bit of extra, detail that doesn't need to be there. Makes it much more playful. Okay, let's go back to the bowl. And maybe the yellow. There we go. Now, the bowl has disappeared because it was one way. The bowl has taken us to the lamp, but we can't get back. And you can see there is 4 different possibilities from this lamp. That's what happens when I double click it. So if I go this way, I have a light bulb. And I go back to the lamp. And so one direction is the lamp, and it's 2 ways you can see. Let's find out what happens if we go the other way. And we get a different object, which is a fan. I just love listening to some of the tunes. Gorogoa is what was mentioned, I believe, in the comments when I talked about vignettes on the website. And I haven't played it yet. It's one of those which I was intending to play sometime soon, But I've been saying soon ever since it came out, which is probably about 275 years ago by this point. Now, so we can go back to the lamp if we want to, or carry on going to new destinations. So I'm going to find one of them. Maybe it's it. Ah, there we go. We found a pan. So again, another one way. We've gone from the fan to the pan, but we can't get back. Got 3 new destinations. So what are they? What's this? What have we got? We got plants. How does that look like on the map? So this is what I was doing on the mobile version. I was like constantly going back and forth to the map all the time. I will definitely look at Gorogoa in the near future. Okay, now we end up with this can, which you can open, and I can't actually get anything to come out. But you can move them around. They do actually move a bit. Oh, okay, I got the television by accident there. The game never gives you a large map, and that's what makes it quite tricky to do, particularly on mobile, because you do have to have this picture in your head about how the map works. And I really, it's kind of on one hand you find it frustrating, but on another it becomes part of how it works. Just like you have to remember where everything is on the map. What avenues didn't you explore? Because with all the one ways, you may not come back round this way for a while. So we can go back to the TV or go forward to something else. Let's go back to the TV. And let's see if we can get to the phone. Now, also I want to point out, just going on with the last point, you can see that the map is not showing you what's on the other side of the bowl or even the pan. There are no other arrows. It's always strictly limited visibility. You can't see too far ahead. So, see if I can get the phone. How do I get the phone? There we go. Back to the phone. What I didn't show you is that earlier, because it wouldn't let me, you can actually zoom up in the phone and you can type. You can put in a phone code and then try and phone, but nothing happens. So right from the beginning, there's this kind of like, there's this phone there, the very first object you've got, which is inviting you to play with it, but nothing happens, and it's like, is there a code I have to find? And I'm not going to say anything about that, but obviously the fact that I mentioned it means possibly there is. Fog of War, that's very interesting. Yes, that's an interesting way of putting it. Hello, Marcus Don. So, if I open up the I didn't mean to do that. Let's just go back in. I wanted to bring up the frames. So you can see there's lots of different frames of lots of different objects you can find. And effectively, to finish the game normally, you can find all the objects. That's one way forward. But there's also a selection of interesting achievements. And when you first look at these, you're thinking, well, what is this, you know? And you can open them up. Okay, that's a picture of television in there. And you've got one down here which is showing a picture of a skull. And, well, what do these all mean? And this is where some of the real fun is, I find. Actually finding your way around is difficult. And also some of the connections are tricky to work out. They're not straightforward to get the connection. It's not simply just about rotating the object. But finding out how to trigger some of these achievements is a lot more interesting. There's a lot of like sorts of secrets nested in the game. And while in the beginning I found it kind of frustrating because I didn't know where I was going and I couldn't remember the map in my head at all. As I slowly started to understand the achievements, I was just sucked into the game, and there's a couple of the achievements which, these cards at the bottom, and one of the other achievements are particularly fine. Really lovely to work on. And you know, the game got me by the end, and I couldn't believe I hadn't played this game. And that's what I wrote on the site, that this game is it's a simple idea of just rotating objects into others. And I thought that was clever, but I couldn't see how that would make more of a game than that. And they did it by adding this extra level of secrecy and having it as like a map to navigate. They did actually try and make it like a more of a narrative story driven without words, but that didn't really work out. But no, I think this is an absolutely lovely game, and I finished it on mobile within a week. It's not the kind of thing that will take you forever. Some of the transitions are a bit hard, I would say. They're hard to find, and even if you know they're there, they're hard to redo. Shall I just say Greg will know what I'm talking about because he's been through the game himself. The eyeball jar and also the welly boot is the other one. You know it's there, but you can't quite find it. And you've done it so many times, and every time it's just like... I don't know whether it feels more natural on PC or the mobile. There was a problem where when I was doing it on the mobile sometimes, I'd actually click instead of rotating, and it would sometimes undo what I was trying to do. It was like, oh God, no, that's not what I meant. And you're not going to get that on PC because holding a mouse down and double clicking is much easier to do. Oh my God, Steerpag is on. I didn't know he was still alive. Jeez, I thought you were killed in Dark Souls. So we will stop there with vignettes. I'm too frightened to show too much of it because it's just it's too good, you know. And it's all about finding the secrets and the transitions. So I think someone's hacked Steerpag's account. So we will leave vignettes there. So that is vignettes, which originally came out in 2017 from a collective called Skeleton Business. It's roughly around £6.50 or $7.99 on desktop at the moment, and about £2.80 on mobile, and that's available for Windows, Mac, iPhone, and Android. Let me just copy the link there if you're looking for the game. Right, so I should go back to my loading screen. Out of interest, was that glitching at all for anyone? What was the last thing I'm going to bring up here? So we're moving on to Feather in the last part of the game, last part of the stream. And we have Samurai Punk with us in the chat today. Still a bit spotty for you, Greg, huh? So there'll be kind of two parts to this. I'll show you essentially what Feather is, and then there's sort of Feather isn't. It's kind of a game which it's not really about secrets, but there is a chunk of secrets in the game where you're exploring and you discover something, and it's like wonderful, but that's not really what the game is about. It's a bit like when you play what's the word? Something like Starseed Pilgrim. Everybody talked about how cool that game was, but they don't want to tell you how it plays. But the thing is, that's fine. That mystery is part of it, but on the other side of the mystery is the real game, and that's hard work. Once you've figured out how Starseed Pilgrim works, well, you've got a lot of work to do. And Feather, it's not like hard work like Starseed Pilgrim, but there's an exploration aspect, but it's really more about just flying around and enjoying yourself. So we're gonna switch to controller for this. So I will just show you how the game plays, and then for anybody who doesn't want to see secrets, you can drop off, and I'll let you know. Right, I'm watching the stream same time. So you're a bird who basically hitches in real time. It's still doing it. Okay, so you get to fly around quite a bit, and just basically there's not much to this game except flying around. And you can go where you want. There's no gates, nothing to unlock. These aren't collectibles. These looked like collectibles when I first saw them, and they're not collectibles. These rings just change the music. And so Feather is really just about like taking some time off, There's no goals. You make whatever goal you want. And go through the leaves for the fun of it. If you crash, it does this sort of wind back. There we go. I'm gonna crash into this mountain here. It'll slow down and then it winds back a bit, so you can try to avert it. Sometimes you can get stuck a few times. Okay, come on. Let's see if I can do the log. See what I mean? Your own goals. So, and it is a sort of there's a multiplayer aspect, a bit like with is it the Endless Forest, the Tale of Tales, where everybody plays a deer. There is a multiplayer aspect where you get to share the space with other players. There are other birds out there. When I played this other night, I didn't see any. I'm sure it doesn't have a huge player base, which is a shame. But you can interact with other birds. I mean, you can't do anything. You can tweet at them. Oh, that's just spinning around. There you go. I can tweet. And there's a day and night cycle. It'll slowly get darker and darker. And again, it's not about, although I say it's not really about speed, there is something lovely about going up into the air and then just going for it. So I played this quite a bit back in the day, and I haven't played it for a while actually until I was ready for this stream. And there have been a few additions which I noted. There's a little extra area off. That area over there wasn't there originally, that one with all those stones there. That's a new area. And there's these little triangles everywhere, which are really difficult to get through, I'll let you know. And they just let you, well, I won't tell you what they do. I mean, it's not like they're going to unlock any secret content. Okay. And you can go into the ocean a little bit, just a little bit. You can just dip down into the water. Oh, my controller's rumbling as I do that. You can't go away from the island. It's not, you know, if you go off, I think it's effectively an invisible wall. You just flap and don't go anywhere, but it's fine. There's a lovely button. If you press Y, you can flip your direction around like that. That's sometimes useful when you get into tight spaces. And, you know, I look at a lot of the architecture here, and I do wonder what I'm looking at. I'm like, what is this place? There's obviously a graveyard on the other side, and there's all this, like, interestingly, like, you know, gold along these blocks. And here's a mushroom. I don't remember the mushrooms. Oh, am I going to crash? Oh! Yeah, I'm going to crash. You can actually land, but I'm really bad at it. So should we try and perch up here maybe? Can I land? Come on, land. Land, bird. Oh, so close. No, it's not landing, it's crashing. Ah, can't quite pull it off. But you can land. I've done it before. No, it's just crashing. So let's just come away from there. But you could just land and then look out over the sea or the mountains or whatever you're interested in looking at. So we're at the top of this little mountain here. Oh. Oh, I've got the perspective a bit wrong here. Okay, you can knock through these, make little noises, and you can also just fly over those over there and light them up. Sun's going down now. It's just a very peaceful game. I've never actually tried interacting with any other birds. In the beginning there were a lot of birds when I first played, and it was just whoa, okay, and it was just I didn't realize initially that there were other players in the game. It took a little while for me to realize that I was seeing other players, not other birds, you know, just random bots or something, bird bots. So I find, unfortunately, I don't think it screenshots that well. It's lovely in motion, a bit like, in a strange way, a bit like, you know, Matt James's games, Varen, Return Home and things like that. Wow, I've never seen that effect before. I guess it's cloud. So, yeah, a single screenshot doesn't really carry it. It's more about how seeing it in motion. I love the fact that you have quite a bit of speed when you come down through the air like that. But yeah, it's just, you know, there's not much to it really. There are a few controls. There's also camera controls where you can move to the side if you want. But once I start to do that, I usually I'm very bad at flying through anything. I'll just restore the camera there. So it's let's go over to the news section. Just hop over here, and then I'll probably say that's all I'm going to show secret free. And then we'll talk about secrets. It's up to you if you want to hang on. Again, you know, you can, it's not like the end of the world if you see these secrets. You can go and explore them yourself. I'm not going to show everything either. There's one of those triangles. And you got some of these columns are gold colored. So that's where I'm going to stop in the spoiler-free section. I will tell you that the game, so it's from Samurai Punk, who's on the chat at the moment, and it's going, I think, for £7.19 or $10 on either Windows or Switch. And I suppose I should grab. Oh, the mouse is taking control of it. Let's see if I come off what happens. Right, so I will grab. There's the link to the website. Okay, back into Feather. So that's where I'll leave the spoiler-free section tonight. So thank you very much if you're about to leave. And I'll try and get this uploaded. We'll see if the actual my stored version on the hard disk has got the same glitchiness and hitching. And I'll have to take from this experience, I'll have to learn from this experience and see what I can do next time. Get a better computer maybe. Thank you very much. Thank you much, Greg. Thanks, Amicable Animal. God, that's a mouthful. So I'm going to count down from 5 seconds, and then I will start talking about the other part of the game. Well, it's stuff you can find. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So welcome to the spoiler part of the stream. So I thought I played this and I had a look around the island and seen everything, and I remember looking at the trailer again afterwards, and I noticed there was bits of the trailer I just didn't recognize. There was like this like a water chute and things like that, and I thought, where the hell are those? And then I was just like wandering the island thinking, what? I don't understand. Is there another level somewhere? Is there something I've missed? So then I had to, you know, go searching for a while, and I didn't spot anything for ages. So let's speed up a bit here. There's only one place I remember. There's plenty of places to get into what you might call secret. Oh, I think I just passed one. Let's go for that one instead. So if you look carefully, there are little secret entrances all around the mountain. And rocks to crash into. And suddenly, you're inside caves. And there's a huge world down here. It's finite, doesn't go on forever. There's just a lot down here to explore and take your time. You can spend a lot of time bashing into walls if you're not careful. And indeed, when I had to go with this on as a practice stream a few days ago, I was constantly hitting stuff. So where are we going now? We're coming out the other side. And that isn't everything, of course. That was just one fly through. This is just the other side of the mountain. Let's go back in. Oh, have I already lost my way? No, there we go. So these little entrances are so well hidden. I just did not see them when I was playing first time. And there's a lot of nice things down here just to wander around. Oh, there we go. See, there's another passageway down here. Sometimes I wonder if I've seen all the passageways, but I think I did. But who knows, maybe they've added something since I first saw it. See, all these are now lighting up. And then we come to a nice open chamber with blue mushrooms down here. Again, I've no intention of spoiling everything in the game, but at least you know that there's something else down here. And your bird can go flying around underground. And yeah, it was just like such a shock to discover there was more in the game. I'm like, what? A whole undersea area. Under mountain area. Which I thought was absolutely wonderful. I do have a tendency to get lost. I can never quite remember which direction I want to go, for what and for what reason. But yeah, that is as much as I probably want to show you. But there is a lot down here, and there's other things to play with. You know, like I just showed you, like this. Oop, bang! Straight in the face. There are things to play with, like you saw the little these little flowers were lighting up. Okay. So this is sometimes that happens. I get stuck in a bit of loop of crashing constantly. Usually when I'm trying to do something a bit fine, like when I just land on a particular spot or something. But there I will leave it. I think that's enough to show you, like, there's this wonderful area down here. Oh heck, let's just do a bit more. Then we can stop for good. What's through this tunnel? Where are we going here now? Getting blue. Are we coming out or finding another area? The passageway down there, maybe? Oh, we're coming out, I think. Oh, are we? Oh no, I think I'm going up an area I shouldn't be going up. That's just a mountain stream. You can't go up there. Okay. Let's go up here. Oh, this is another way out. Oh, well done me. Okay, there we go, we're out. And yeah, and I haven't shown you all the little secrets. There's a few other bits and pieces and things to find and play with. And it was wonderful watching the chat sometimes as the other players were discussing what they would find on the island on the Discord chat sometimes. But I'll leave it there. Romanus 14 is hoping I'll get the 5 stages of Stephen's sausage roll done sometime soon. I would like that too. Unfortunately, it's not one of the films I'm working on at the moment, and I'm working on 3 different films, none of which is Stephen's sausage roll. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Those of you who stayed on for the little spoiler section. And I hope to do another stream soon. I had to cut some games out of this stream because I knew they would go way over an hour. So I already know what I'm doing in the next stream. Hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. And so, that doesn't go anywhere, I don't think. As I pass over a graveyard, I will say good night. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.